Have you ever, like, totally nailed a presentation at work? Or maybe
Yeah.
you got, like, a glowing review from your boss?
Mm.
Or even just crushed a goal you'd been working towards?
Yeah, for sure.
But then, even with all that, there's still this little voice in your head that's like, nah, it's just luck. Or even worse, any second now, everyone's going to figure out that I'm not as good as they think I am.
Right.
Oh, so frustrating.
Definitely familiar.
Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today on the deep dive. We're going to tackle that feeling, that like imposter syndrome and all the self-doubt that comes with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, and to really get to the bottom of this, we've got a ton of awesome research to look at, and even some super thought-provoking stuff from psychology today.
Oh, cool.
We're going to really try to get a good grasp on what imposter syndrome actually is, figure out why it shows up in our lives, and most importantly, give you some solid strategies to help you, like, ditch those feelings of being a fraud.
Love it.
Yeah, it's all about recognizing your real abilities and feeling the confidence you deserve.
Absolutely. Like shifting that inner voice from I'm getting away with something
Yeah.
to I'm actually capable and all my hard work is paying off.
Exactly. Okay, so let's break this down. What exactly is imposter syndrome?
So at its core, imposter syndrome is this like constant feeling of not being as competent or as capable as other people think you are.
Right.
And even when you've got like tons of evidence that you are skilled and talented, you still feel like you're somehow tricking everyone.
Mm.
And a big part of it is this tendency to say your successes are because of things outside of yourself, like luck or good timing, or even that you're just good at fooling people.
It's like you've got this whole shelf full of trophies, but every time you look at them, you're thinking, oh, that was a fluke, or like, they just haven't figured me out yet.
Totally, yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that gap between how the world sees you and how you see yourself, well, it can create a lot of inner turmoil. It can lead to anxiety and worry that you'll be exposed as a fake, and sometimes even to overworking, trying to make up for this feeling of not being good enough.
It's like always feeling like you have to prove yourself, right?
Exactly. And it's important to remember that imposter syndrome doesn't just show up in one way. There are actually different patterns or like types of imposter syndrome.
Oh, interesting. So there are different ways this can play out for people.
Yeah, for sure. And understanding these different types can be really helpful. So one common type is what we call the perfectionist.
Okay.
So for you perfectionists out there, the feeling is that if something isn't absolutely perfect, then it's a complete failure.
Oh, I know that one.
Right. You set super high standards for yourself, and even tiny mistakes can make you feel full of self-doubt. And at the root of this is often a big fear of judgment, where any little flaw feels like a total disaster.
Yeah, totally. It's like that all or nothing thinking, where if it's not flawless, it's a catastrophe.
Exactly. Then there's the superwoman or superman.
Mm.
For you super folks, you're always pushing yourself, working harder than everyone else, going above and beyond just to feel like you belong or that you're good enough. And this often means taking on way too much, which can lead straight to burnout. It's like you feel like you have to prove your worth through just like nonstop effort.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting. Always striving, never feeling like you've done enough.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then we have the natural genius.
Okay.
So for those who identify with this type, if you have to struggle to learn something new, it means you're not actually smart or capable.
Oh, wow.
The expectation is that things should come easily, and if they don't, well, that's seen as a sign of not being good enough. It's like thinking a fish shouldn't need to learn to swim. If it has to try, then it's not a real fish.
That's a great analogy. Equating effort with a lack of talent.
Right. And then there's the soloist.
No soloist. Okay.
For you soloists, the feeling is that you have to do everything yourself to be worthy of recognition. Asking for help is like admitting defeat. It's that I have to do it all myself mentality.
Right. Which can be pretty isolating.
Absolutely. And lastly, we have the expert.
The ex.
You experts out there, you never feel like you know enough. You may have a ton of knowledge and experience, but you still feel like you need to learn more before you can be considered competent. So you often downplay your own expertise because you think there's always someone who knows more than you.
Wow, that's interesting. Always feeling like you're just on the verge of knowing enough.
Right. So, as we've been talking about these different types, you might be realizing, oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, like, hey, that's me.
Exactly. And that recognition, that's a really big first step.
Totally agree. Now, we get what imposter syndrome is, and we've seen some of the ways it can show up. So the next question is, why do these feelings of self-doubt, like, why do they even happen in the first place? Where does imposter syndrome come from?
Well, it usually comes from a bunch of different places.
Yeah.
Some research suggests that it can start way back in childhood. For example, if you grew up in a family where achievements were expected but not really celebrated or acknowledged, you might start to feel like your accomplishments are just like normal, nothing special.
Makes sense. If your successes are always kind of brushed aside, you might start to believe they're not really that big of a deal.
Exactly. And then societal expectations and pressures,
Hmm.
those play a huge role too.
Yeah, for sure.
We live in a culture that's obsessed with achievement, with being the best, which creates a lot of pressure to constantly prove yourself.
It can feel like everyone else is effortlessly succeeding and you're the only one, like, struggling to keep up.
Right. And we can't forget about the impact of social media. We're bombarded with these like perfectly curated versions of other people's lives,
Oh, yeah.
which makes it super easy to compare yourself and end up feeling inadequate.
Totally.
But you rarely see the struggles, the setbacks, all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes.
It's like comparing your rough draft to someone else's, like, polished, published book.
Exactly. It's so important to remember that those highlight reels don't tell the whole story.
Really important.
And in the midst of all this pressure and self-doubt, it's vital to remember this. Your achievements are real. Your growth is valid. You are enough.
That's such a powerful message.
It is.
Okay, so we know what imposter syndrome is, and we've looked at some of its roots.
Yeah.
Now, how do we actually break free from this cycle of self-doubt? What are some concrete things we can do?
There are actually a bunch of helpful strategies you can try. The first one is to really pay attention to your thoughts, especially the negative self-talk.
Okay.
So when you hear that inner critic saying things like, you don't belong here, or you're going to be found out, stop and notice it.
Almost like you're taking a step back and observing those thoughts without believing them right away.
Exactly. And once you've noticed those negative thoughts, you need to challenge them.
Okay.
Like ask yourself, what evidence do I have that supports this thought? More often than not, you'll realize these thoughts are based on fear, not on reality.
Right.
So instead of just accepting, I'm not good at this, ask yourself, what proof do I actually have that I'm failing? And look for real, concrete examples.
That's a huge shift, going from just feeling the doubt to actually questioning it.
It is. Another great strategy is to reframe failure as growth.
How do you do that?
Instead of seeing mistakes as proof that you're not good enough, try to see them as learning opportunities.
Oh, okay.
Every time you mess up, it gives you insights and helps you improve.
Makes sense.
It's changing that inner voice from, I failed, to, I learned something valuable.
That can be tough in the moment, though.
It can, but it's a really important change to make.
For sure.
And this leads us to owning your achievements. A lot of people with imposter syndrome, they downplay their successes or they say it was just luck. A great way to combat that is to start what's called a success journal.
A success journal.
Yeah, Psychology Today talks about this. Set aside a specific time each week, maybe like Sunday mornings for half an hour, and actively write down all your accomplishments.
Okay.
Like certificates you've earned, positive feedback you've gotten, projects you've finished, milestones you've hit, even compliments people have given you. You can even add screenshots and photos.
Wow. So it's like creating this, like, tangible record of your achievements instead of relying on your memory, which can be, a little fuzzy sometimes.
Exactly, yeah. And the article also suggests asking for endorsements or recommendations from colleagues or supervisors just as another way to validate your accomplishments. Oh, and don't forget to include those times you've grown as a person, those times you stepped outside your comfort zone or overcame a challenge.
Makes sense.
Then, make sure you go back and look in your success journal regularly. It's a powerful reminder of all you've accomplished, and it can help quiet those doubts.
Yeah. It's like building up evidence against the imposter syndrome.
Exactly. Another important strategy is to stop comparing yourself to others. It's so easy to fall into that trap, especially with social media. But you have to remember that everyone is on their own unique path. You don't see all the struggles or the hard work that others are putting in. Comparison can really steal your joy and your self-confidence.
It's so true. It's like comparing your beginning to someone else's middle.
Exactly. And another really important strategy is to talk about it. Imposter syndrome thrives in silence. Talk to someone you trust, a mentor, a coach, a therapist, a friend. Just saying it out loud can be incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
The Psychology Today article even suggests finding a life coach you really admire and learning from their experiences with self-doubt.
Interesting.
Just knowing that someone you look up to has also struggled with these feelings can be incredibly validating.
For sure. It normalizes the experience and makes you feel less alone.
Exactly.
Right.
It's also important to develop self-compassion.
Mm.
Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend who's going through something similar. Challenge that habit of being super critical of yourself. We're often our own worst critics, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely.
It's about learning to give yourself the same grace you give to others.
Absolutely. And speaking of being kind to ourselves, how about defining success in a way that's like actually achievable?
Oh, that's so important. Often, imposter syndrome is linked to this all-or-nothing mindset, like, I have to be successful at everything all the time.
Right.
Instead, try setting clear, realistic goals for different areas of your life.
Okay.
And when you hit a setback, remember, it's normal. And it doesn't mean you're not making progress overall. Breaking down success into smaller, more manageable pieces can make a huge difference.
Yeah, so instead of feeling like you have to be perfect at everything, you're setting realistic expectations for different parts of your life.
Exactly. And this leads to the next strategy, which is to decide what good enough looks like.
Hmm.
It might sound counterintuitive, but you don't have to be amazing at everything all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to just be good enough
Okay.
sometimes. Trying to be perfect at everything leads to burnout. So ask yourself, what tasks in my life don't need to be perfect? What does good enough actually look like for those things? Setting that bar allows you to save your energy for the things that really matter to you.
Yeah, it's about choosing where to focus your energy and not getting bogged down in trying to be perfect at everything.
Exactly. And since we all make mistakes, it's also helpful to have a plan for how you'll deal with them in a compassionate way.
Hmm, interesting.
The Psychology Today article suggests actually writing down a compassionate plan for how you'll move forward after you make a mistake.
Oh, wow.
And to make yourself more accountable, you could even have someone you trust witness and sign the plan.
That's really interesting. It's like a pre-commitment to self-kindness when things don't go perfectly.
Exactly. And finally, it's so important to actively replace those negative thoughts with more positive ones.
Okay.
For example, if you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good at anything, challenge that thought by thinking of at least 3 things you're good at. Or if you think, I have to work harder than everyone else to get the same results, try reframing it as, I've got a strong work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
And if you start feeling like you don't belong, remind yourself that you were chosen for your position or your program for a reason. The people who chose you, they believed in you.
Yeah, good point.
It's all about actively challenging those negative thought patterns and choosing to think about yourself and your abilities in a more positive and accurate way.
It's a journey of like constantly reminding yourself of the truth.
It is. Overcoming imposter syndrome is all about progress, not perfection. It's learning to move forward and own your worth, even when those doubts creep in.
So powerful.
Yeah,
It's so important to remember that those feelings of inadequacy don't define us or our capabilities.
right. Your success is real, your talents matter, and you deserve to embrace all that you've achieved.
So true. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us today. This is something that affects so many people, and these strategies can make a real difference.
It's been my pleasure. It's a journey of self-acceptance and recognizing your worth.
And for those of you who are looking for more support in building confidence and overcoming self-doubt, especially in your relationships, I encourage you to check out our premarital coaching services.
Okay.
You can find them at www.empowereddecleaters.com, tblauerdecleaters.com, Caramental-love. We offer personalized guidance to help you build a strong and confident foundation for your relationship. And for even more practical insights and exercises, be sure to check out my ebook, Before the Vows. You can get it at www.empowereddecleaters.com/shop. It's packed with tools to help you thrive in your relationships.
Sounds great.
And if you found this deep dive helpful, please subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.
Yeah.
We'd also love it if you could leave us a review. It really helps other people find the show, and please share this episode with anyone you think might benefit from it.
It can make a big difference for someone.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for tuning into the deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you then.